Good afternoon. Today we're here to call for the resignation of Commissioner Cynthia Brand. We think that she has proven over the last 3 years to be in over her head and have no idea of what it means or what it takes to run a New York City jail system. This jail where the correction officer was assaulted yesterday is a blood and a crip jail. This is a gang jail. In this jail are Bloods and Crips. They're running the jail. And based on the way the commissioner has been running the agency, she and the mayor of the city of New York have done nothing but put the lives of correction officers at risk. While I'm standing here talking to you now, I have 5 Bloods on Rikers Island who just attacked a correction officer and assaulted him with a cane. So now he has bruises, a teeth, and everything. All of this is going on while the commissioner does nothing. We're calling for her resignation. It's time for her to go. It's time for the mayor to do his job. All of this is happening because of his policies. We all watched young Guzman in the Bronx as he was stabbed and cut by the Trinitarians, another gang. Well, we're also watching this officer from yesterday, the officers from Rikers, the officer from Saturday. We're all under attack by who? The gangs. And the mayor has decided that it's too cruel and inhumane to segregate them and to remove them from population to protect correction officers. So he's marginalized the life of correction officers. He's decided that the life of mostly black and Latino and people of color is not worthy of his attention. Him or the city council. Today, what are they concerned about? Uber. They're at City Hall worrying about Uber. And we have correction officers who are being beaten, damn near beaten to death, and they're worried about Uber. It's time for Commissioner Brand to go, and it's time for Mayor de Blasio to do his job and give us back punitive segregation and give us back the tools that we need in order to protect ourselves and the inmates inside these jails.
And when you say tools, can you go through what you think they should be done specifically?
Again, we've had our main tool taken away, which we call punitive segregation, which is when these inmates attack us and when they're violent, we're able to segregate them. We're able to move them away, keep them away from us, keep them away from the other inmate. That's the major #1 tool. The other thing is the mayor has taken away disciplinary sanctions that we once had the ability to use against inmates that also help to keep them in line. So we need these things back. And this union have submitted proposal after proposal to the city. Proposal after proposal to the commissioner of this agency. And I believe that the commissioner and all her chiefs, it's time for all of them to go. I think it's time for this entire administration to go because they're not doing anything to protect the lives of the men and women who put on the uniform and come into these jails and come on this island to protect you.
A couple of questions. Just the 5 Bloods that you say attacked an officer, right? Did that just happen?
That happened within the last hour. And the sad thing is, these Bloods come out of the same house that cut the correction officer with the 3 inches across his face. So even with that, the commissioner was negligent in breaking down his house and separating and removing and taking away a predominantly gang-infested house. So it shows, and it says that she is incompetent. It shows and it's said that her chief is incompetent. It shows and it says that her whole administration and the de Blasio administration is incompetent when it comes to running a jail.
The other disciplinary sanctions that you kind of talked about, detail on that.
We've talked about things such as non-contact visits. We've talked about things such as they shouldn't be allowed to buy Doritos or Slim Jim or bag potato chips if they commit certain infractions. The way it is now under this mayor and under this commissioner, no matter what they do, they still continue to get the same services of the inmates who are abiding by the rules.
So it sounds like you're saying they have 0 consequences whatsoever?
They have 0 consequences. They have 0 consequences. The inmate who stabbed the officer in RNDC was in a house, a program house called True. Well, he was in there because he was already assaultive. But in that house, there are no consequences. It's just putting him with other 18 and 19-year-olds who are guilty of the same thing, but they still shop. They still get visits. They still go to commissary. Now, along with the city council, they're going to get free phone calls.
The officer who was attacked either by the blood, the same guy that was attacked by in GRDC last night after he discovered the contract.
No, the AMKC situation that's happening as we speak is a different situation, the same gang.
Do you have any sense of why this most recent attack, not the one the writers of the came, but the one on video that we used? Any sense of why that happened? What was the reason for the attack? It was completely random.
As far as I know, it was because he, again, is an officer who was doing his job, locking the gate, ensuring that things are being ran properly. And unfortunately, these inmates don't want us to do our job. And they all know that the mayor is on their side. They know that the mayor doesn't want us to do our job as well. So it wasn't random. It was because the officer is doing his job. The correction officer who almost got his neck broke, why did he get his neck broke? It wasn't random. It was because he wrote an inmate a ticket, and the inmate didn't like it, and the inmate decided to attack him. And it's the same thing that we're dealing with.
How badly hurt was the officer in this case? That was beaten out by that gate?
He was beaten pretty bad. He's still in the hospital. He has a concussion, but he's still there under observation by the hospital.
Broken jaw, broken nose, or somewhere.
I don't believe the jaw was broken, but he definitely has a concussion because he was knocked unconscious and then continued to be pummeled by this inmate. And if you watch the video, you see the size of this inmate. It doesn't matter whether they're 17 or 19, you see what we're dealing with. I'm sorry?
Do you have any video footage of the two attacks that happened right there, the one that happened recently and the one that happened last night?
Whatever we have, you can talk to Skelly and he'll give it to you.
And a little bit about the officer again in that video. How long on the job? Family, age?
Unfortunately, he's a new officer. He has less than 2 years on the job. And as far as the account from his co-workers, he's a good officer. And as you can see from the video, he was doing his job despite of the circumstances.
Did he strike back with mace or pepper spray?
Another officer sprayed the chemical agent through the gate before he was able to actually respond. The officer himself was caught off guard. If you watch the video, he was caught off guard. The inmate came, he struck him, he knocked him down, he knocked him out, and he continued to punch him, and he continued to pummel him.
We just got a statement from the Department of Corrections, and they're saying that they're working with Brooklyn and Detention Center to ensure the next facilities these inmates visit are state prisons. Is that enough of an answer to you?
Let me explain something to you about the department and their cookie-cutter responses. They have nothing to do with an inmate being rearrested. He committed a crime, so obviously he's going to be rearrested, so he's being rearrested. So the mayor nor the commissioner to take no kudos for any of that. As far as sending him to a jail where they have punitive say, we don't have that jail if an inmate is under 21 years old. So what they've been doing is sourcing them out to Albany, to Suffolk County, to Nassau. What we're saying is it's hypocritical. It's like saying, I believe in the death penalty, but you know what? Let's send them to Jersey. I don't want it here, send them to Jersey. And this is what the mayor's guilty of doing. He's guilty of sending our problems somewhere else, which additionally costs the city more money, which additionally costs taxpayers more money, when we can actually handle most of this here, because prior to him becoming mayor, that's what we did.
How would you describe the current mindset or morale in your officers' life on this string of attacks? What's the fear? Is there?
The officers, yes, there's fear, there is anger, there's total disappointment. They're disillusioned with the commissioner. They're disillusioned with the city council. They're disillusioned with the mayor. Yeah, they're fearful. Yes, we're angry. Yes, when we're saying to the mayor and to the city of New York, we are wearing uniforms. and we're being attacked and assaulted, and you're not doing anything. The mayor feels that it's cruel and inhumane to lock an inmate in for 22 hours a day, but he says absolutely nothing about an officer who gets knocked unconscious or gets 5 stitches in his ear or 26 stitches across his face. That's not inhumane. That's not cruel. He has nothing to say about that.
Has he ever visited one of your officers, the mayor?
He's never visited a correctional officer since he's been mayor. He doesn't care. We're black, we're Latino, the inmates are black, who cares? He doesn't care about us. And I can't actually ascribe it to anything other than that. I can't put it on anything other than that. There's no reason for him to marginalize our life, our safety, and what we do for this city.
Do you believe it's racial or it's apathy?
I believe it's apathy, and I believe basically, in my simple way of putting it, he just doesn't care. He doesn't care, I'm sorry, he doesn't care about anything. And the fact of that is NYCHA, homelessness, mental health. He doesn't care. What does he care? I'm sorry, he cares about Uber. But he doesn't care about New York. He doesn't care about the people who actually make this city work.
So if nothing gets done, and they stick on this course, what else can you all do? You hold a press conference, you call for
We can
resolution.
continue to fight. We can continue to voice our concerns. And there are other things that we can do that I probably shouldn't talk about.
Such as?
I shouldn't talk about it.
Last question? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody came through.
Yeah.
Briefing. Seven is quick.